Hey guys, so this is the quarter 4 project, and you can see right here is a list of all the equations. You take your calculator number and that will tell you which equation to do. I'm going to make up a random one so it's different than your guys's and go from there. So I'm going to go ahead and take, let's see, I could take 5 cosine of regular x. Alright, so for my problem, I'm going to have y equals 5 cosine of x. Alright, and so for this problem, I start my video by saying, there are things I need to find. I need to find the amplitude and I need to find the period. The amplitude of my curve is always the absolute value of this number that's in front of the cosine. If there's no number there, we assume it's a 1. But if there's a number there, we just take its absolute value. The absolute value just means the positive equivalent. So if that's 5, the positive version of 5 is 5. If it had been negative, I would have still had an amplitude of 5. The period for a sine or cosine wave is always 2 pi divided by b. b is the multiplier of x. So I'm looking in front of this x, and notice there's nothing there. So by default, that means 2 pi is going to be divided by 1. If I had one of these other ones with 2 pi or pi, I could simplify a little bit and go from there. So in this case, my period is 2 pi. That should be enough for me to get started on my graph. I'm going to go 4 marks to the right, and I label my 4th mark the period, 2 pi. To find the first mark, I'm going to take that period and divide it by 4. This simplifies to just pi over 2, because 2 over 4 reduces to 1/2. So I'm going to label this first one pi over 2. Excuse the sloppy writing. To find the second mark, I take the period and I divide it not by 4 but by 2 because it's halfway. In this case, the 2's reduce and I get just regular pi, which should make sense. If the first mark is half of pi, the second mark should be all of pi. And then to find the third mark, we take the first mark, which was pi over 2, and we times it by 3. In this case, we would get 3 pi over 2. So I'm going to label that 3 pi over 2. I need to label my amplitude on the y-axis, so I'm going to label a 5 there and a -5 down below. Now, I'm doing a cosine graph, which means I'm going to start at the amplitude. Because my cosine's positive, I'm going to start at the positive amplitude. If it had been a -5, I would have started at the negative amplitude. The next dot, because I'm at an amplitude, should be on the x-axis. So at pi halves, I'll be right at the x-axis. At the next mark, I should be at the other amplitude. Since I started at +5, I need to go down to -5. Then I need to be back on the x-axis. Every other mark should be right in the center. And then my 5th mark will be back up to where I started. Now, bear with me a little bit. I know graphing these on a computer can be kind of challenging, but I'm going to do the best I can. And I get something like that. Now if you continue, so this is enough for me to be able to produce the project, but you might, continue the curve onward and get multiple cycles of the curve. But that's all you have to do for your video, is produce that, and then you can upload it to YouTube and share a link, or you can email me the video. Hopefully it's not too big or too long. If you have questions, just come and see me and talk to me about it. All right, see you in class.